Can you see me, Shishir?
I can see you as well now. I can see
Okay.
you.
I'm just going to confirm whether this is happening live from the BRM page or not. We are
Okay.
live for sure.
Okay.
So somewhere in the virtual world, this is happening. We just got to make sure that BRM page पे हो रहा है.
ठीक है.
We have some 7,000 people on the BRM page.
Ooh, okay.
So that increases our chances to take this to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, we have a few minutes at our hand, so we should be able to ease, and hopefully we have audience also which will start watching. And this is the first, so yeah.
Okay.
This is the first for us as well.
So you're calling it City of Hope.
City of Hope, yes, Shishir. I think the idea was that we need hope in this city, and more hope rather than cynicism. कि कुछ हो सकता है और कुछ हो रहा है. I think that was the primary spirit of this as well.
I think Kejal had reached out to me to plan some discussion sometime back, and
right.
We have to do that conversation
definitely
sooner than later. Of course, the municipal elections are around the corner, but I think those incidents will keep coming into Mumbai. We need to look beyond such.
We need to go beyond that. Beyond such spikes of energy.
Yeah, because definitely. I don't really think we have any role to play in municipal elections in that sense.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that one up also. I mean, we're starting to have some audience, so we've got 2 people watching in. So I'm just wondering, yeah, we are live. Okay, we are live. I have received the instruction. I have received that we are live, and we are ahead of time, which is great. We are early on Shishir, and yeah, I will take a couple of minutes, let the audience assemble. Let the audience assemble meanwhile. But yeah, are you at this time typically in the evening? Are you at work normally, or is this are you done by this time?
There's nothing like done, and there's nothing like work. So let me put it that way. So it might so it could be suddenly you realize that there is a mail that hasn't been responded to. So response to that, somebody does drop in a kind of a whatever. Can this happen tomorrow? So it's right now that hybrid model of work is started. So some things go online, and then there are some things which go physical. So today there was a meeting which takes, and then suddenly you realize that physical meetings take away so much of your time.
True.
And so just one visit to Worli, and then from there on, and then you have some Sarkari people who are still not attuned to online. Either it's their ego which prevents them from doing online meetings, because in online meetings you can't ask people to wait.
Yes.
So I had this experience of somebody who said wanted to have a meeting and very keen to have a meeting. I said sure. So Monday morning he said, "Aye, come to Nariman Point." I said, "I'm not going to go to Nariman Point on Monday morning just for that. If it can happen online." So I asked the secretary, I said, "Can it happen online?" He said, "Sure." So I sent a link across. 11 o'clock I waited, 11:15, 11:20. Now online, we know that beyond 11:05, then we say, "Boss, are you coming or not coming?" I waited till 11:15 knowing that this is a Sarkari guy. 11:15 they said that sir is on his way, kind of thing. So typical of an offline meeting. Around 11:20 said, sir says you need to come to the office for a meeting. I said next 1 week.
God.
1 week I'm not going to be in town, as in towards Nariman Point. So I think we can do this online. So I let go of those people. I said if you are not going to change, I think there are other things to do. I have finite time, and then there are other equally important things to be done in that much time. So
absolutely. Lovely, and this is a great thing online, Shishir, because we are at 7 and I'm happy to formally welcome you. So welcome, Shishir, to the first edition of our lives with citizens of the city who inspire us, prominent citizens of the city who we keep hearing about and now finally have a chance to speak to. And as I'm starting this, I am like filled with a mix of emotions because I know you are a journalist sitting on the other side of a
Was.
journalist to interview a journalist also makes me okay. You were a
Was.
journalist,
Yes.
and also somebody who really inspires all of us in the civic space. So thank you for taking out time, Shishir, firstly,
Thank you
for
very much.
this conversation. So, Shishir, I mean, there's so much to speak about in this conversation, and primarily we're reaching out to young listeners in the city, particularly the constituency of Blue Ribbon is youth. And the first question that comes to me is really whatever you've done, and your profile is something that we'll add to the description. Immense amounts of work, right? Global recognition, work on scale across causes, and over the last 3 years, like only 3 years, or looks like only 3 years. Maybe there was a preparation before that. So my question is, what's your inspiration? What's your drive? What what is there a pain point? Is there a positive inspiration? Like what gets you to do something for this city?
Good question. And just simple that there are so many fantastic people around, and I think that makes for the inspiration. So the positivity of positive people and the pain points of people who are in pain. It's a combination of both which makes things work, because you realize that there are so many people who need support. We are today privileged to be in a position of joining dots. So if I don't utilize the energy, then I'm misusing that energy. Uh, Very simply put. So if somebody says I need to do something, and I say, maybe I think I know Abhishek, let me connect you to him. Since I know Abhishek, if I have not connected this guy to Abhishek, then I think I'm doing a disservice. And I think somewhere over the years, we've all, the positivity that we all have is that we end up knowing so many people. I, you and I have not spoken in a long time, but that doesn't stop me from
Yeah.
connecting somebody to you if that person is in need. And we all have multilateral connections. We all believe that we are unilateral in living, but we are very multilateral. So as you said, the journalist part was me, but I still know people, friends who kind of continue being in that space. Or I've been in different spaces of work. I know people there. I may not be directly in touch with them um, regularly, but if the need be, why not reach out to them if it means for the larger good? It's not for myself. It's for somebody who needs help. And if that, as I always believe, that last mile beneficiary, if he benefits, why not do that? And then it's just a kind of a cascading. So I'm a catalyst. I'm happy being that. That inspires.
Lovely. And yeah, I think it's nice to see that inspiration drive Project Mumbai. And I'm curious about a frank assessment from you about Mumbai. And I don't know if it's fair to compare Mumbai brand of activism with the Delhi and the Bangalore brands, because each of them has their own culture of civic engagement. I see Mumbai as a very constructive brand of civic engagement, very pragmatic, very action oriented, much lesser protest, much more citizen led rather than philanthropist funded. What's your assessment? Are we as a city active? Could we do more, or is there enough cause to appreciate action? Like, what's the assessment?
So
Uh,
we're a very
how are we as a
action
city?
city. We are a very action city. So the
Right.
classic image of the VT station or CST or Churchgate or Dadar, where people are moving all the time, you know, that's what epitomizes Mumbai. That people are always doing something, and when I say doing something, is in doing in every space, including doing something for others. So while City of Hope is what you are um, building this on, I feel that this is constant hope in the city. It's not that we need hope. I say we are a city of kindness. Um, so Project Mumbai is building on this concept that Mumbai being the kindness capital of India. People are
Wow.
giving
Okay.
all the time, doing something for others. It may not get recorded or documented by you or me or people who are trying to document volunteerism, but there's somebody doing something for somebody doing something, period. In that space, there's somebody doing something for others. You ask a rickshaw wala, you have an auto wala, you driving with him, and then you say, you try to explain what you're doing, and he said, "हाँ सब मैंने भी तो कोई ये कर दिया, मैंने भी ये कर दिया, मैंने उनके लिए ये कर दिया. So, and not that he's living a very cushy life. In his meager saving, he's managed to do something for others. You know, tell me one. Each one of us has gone through a rickshaw where the charge may have been 23 rupees, and we don't have that upar ka 3 rupees, and he'll say, "Chalo, rehn do, sir." Isn't that giving on his side?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. Beautiful. Yeah.
And yes, we are ignoring that part. Or classically, you said the Delhi and the Bombay and the Chennai thing, that you ask anybody for directions in Mumbai, and they'll go out of the way to give directions. You know, they'll say, "Yaar, wo left hai, main chalo udhar tak aata hu." And that doesn't happen in some other city. You know, so that kindness bone is very strong in people of Mumbai, and Mumbai is really the kindness capital of the country. You try that in some other city, they'll say nahi mano, or they'll say usse pucho, kind of thing. But here some of people will say, chalo, I'm going in that direction, follow me, and then he'll say, not here, left, not right, kind of thing. People people enjoy doing that.
And Shishir, what I feel is unique about your work is you've been able to tap into this kindness on scale. Like, I feel like with Khana Chahiye and so many other projects, you've been able to get a lot of people to be collectively kind and sync. And I'm curious about this systems thinking side of you, or the visionary side that could actually catalyze that. So what's that about? Kindness on scale.
So the scale comes also because the issues that we touch upon or pick upon are directly linked to people's living. So it's not, when I say mental health, I've simplified it, and I'm not made it mental health as in a very scientific way or whatever. It's said children's mental health or adolescent mental health. And then the scale I have brought in from a process point, because if you want to see change, you need to have, in a city of this size, you need to do it in a big way. I recall when we did the railway station project also, beautifying the stations. So the suggestion was, let's do one station or let's do two stations. And one station also is big in Bombay, you know. But we said, if you do and for those who understand Mumbai city, I do a Chembur station, people in Goregaon may not even know what's happened, you know. Or I do let's say Masjid Bandar in the central side. People in Bhandup or Bhandup on the sense may not know what's happened there. So you need to do it everywhere, and then you create localized ownerships and energies. So people in Chembur will come and do something for Chembur. People in Bhandup will do something for Bhandup, and so on and so forth. And then you build on it and join the dots. It's almost like creating small pockets and joining it. And it's like on a sheet of paper, you draw a lot of dots and then you mix it and it becomes one large sheet of one color. So it's a large map, but with lots of small dots in that sense. So scale is also
decentralized
there,
local action.
Absolutely.
But it's decentralized scale.
A very hyper-local kind of space, yes.
And this network, I'm guessing, Shishir, is the network of the good doers across the city that are synchronized and doing local but connected to this larger picture, right? Like when you scale up, do you collaborate with organizations, or is it networks of individuals? What's the way in which people connect to the work?
I'm glad you pointed out, yes, it's collaboration also. So it's a network of complete strangers that definitely is there, but that network is also so very viral, infectious in that sense. I do something and we create this opportunity to put the word out. I'll give you a simple example. We have the Mumbai Plastic Recyclathon, okay, which is one of our environment. Again, that's to do with the way we operate. We simplify and make the idea exciting enough. So we are into environment, but we made plastic as an exciting proposition and donating plastic as so people, again, the giving of plastic. I'm not, so I may become the local Raddiwala when I collect the plastic from people, but it's a sense of giving I'm inculcating in people there to say, give away your plastic. And then the transparency comes in when they see the plastic come into a bench in the community garden. So that's a separate story. But when this time we said, let's, somebody said there are some toys. Do you accept plastic toys as well in your plastic donation? Suddenly it struck me, incidentally, we were also doing vaccination for people who are bedridden, which is one of our many activities that we keep doing. And we were also doing vaccination in the prisons for the inmates of Arthur Road and Michael. And one of my visits, I remember seeing children in the prison there. And I said, okay, if somebody is donating toys, why not get those toys for children of the inmates if the toys are in good condition?
Wow.
And somebody said, we have
Nice.
in the same parallel conversation, somebody said books. Do you all accept books? And I said, okay, I spoke to the jail superintendent. He said, when I had gone around seeing the prison, I saw that there were people who wanted to read. So I said, yes, we'd love to have you donate books. We'll take it and we'll create a library in the prison. People went out and bought books, Abhishek.
Wow.
People bought volumes of Reader's Digest and other books. I just got a call from somebody to say, we'd like to donate from the Amar Chitrakatha family. They said, we'd like to donate volumes of Amar Chitrakatha if there are children who want to read in the prison. And actually, last week, we set up the library for books and toys in the prison. Now, we just played a role. People are doing it.
Beautiful.
So,
Yeah. But you
there's so much to be done.
Yeah, there is a lot. But what I'm seeing is you created a space, you made an invitation, you kept it simple, you kept it exciting, you kept it concrete. And that moves people and created the conditions, I think, for people to take a lot of action.
I should have recorded this definition of Project Mumbai. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did that. We make things very simple for people. We keep volunteering as our foundation to say I may have founded it or co-founded it, but it's your organization. It belongs to all of us. I love giving this example during COVID for thousands of things that we did during COVID. But when people needed medicine, and there was one case where one person reached out to us who was somewhere in Kandivali, and he said, I need this medicine. Lockdown was on. This is the first phase of COVID, 2020, April, May. And one of the volunteers, again, all of them are strangers in that sense, but we've not met them. But one volunteer said, I live in Mahim. I can pick up the medicine from Dadar. And a second volunteer met the first volunteer in Bandra, picked it up, handed it over to a third volunteer in Andheri. The third volunteer picked up the medicine and a few fruits and delivered it to the needy person in Kandivali. Now, that's the spirit of Mumbai,
Wow.
which Project Mumbai
like a whole chain of goodness.
Partners with.
Yeah.
Yes. Kindness. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I'm going to play a little bit of that devil's advocate now to say that Mumbai mein life is also very busy, right? And when we work with young people also, there are so many things that are occupying a person. They keep them busy, and sometimes there's also the burst of cynicism. Sometimes there is the frustration of challenges. So I'm curious, when people that you see contribute in thousands, are these people who are privileged people, or do you also see very busy people actually being able to take time out? And what is that spark? What gets them to do that? So curious about what have you seen in these people, like the guy who actually travels to transfer the medicine. Yeah, I mean, what's that spark, and how do we tap into that?
As they say, zehen mein hai logo ke kuch karna hai. And see, the moment I say you need to do this, then I'm putting in restrictions in the way he should think. But do what you can. That's the essence of volunteerism. To say, I'm not saying that this is what you should do. For us, the premise is very simple. Whatever you can in the available time, we'll give you options. Now, when that happens, then I'm opening up his 24 hours into actually 24 hours. Then the excuses go away. You want to do online? Do online. I'm not even saying what you do online. You can do whatever. Be the custodian of the 100 meters where you live, work or play. And
lovely.
Don't try to change the world. मतलब वो जो करना है अपने आप बदलेगा. कुछ चीजें हम करते हैं उसका जो इफेक्ट होता है we don't even know sometimes. So goodness and appreciation will come back to you. But अपने इलाके को ही देख लो, उसी में करने को बहुत मिल जाएगा. Then somebody says क्या करूँ? कोई बात नहीं. Make a phone call to a senior citizen living in your apartment or your building to say how are you. That phone call will change that person's life. इतना कर दो काफी है. We leave it at that. People pick up from there. So cynicism will naturally be there. It's not an easy city. answering the first part of it, there are people across age groups. I gave you the auto rickshaw example. That, and there are people from all walks of life who help out, the wealthy, the not so wealthy, um, people who have nothing, people who have something they've shared. And I'm sure you've crossed paths with so many such people. So there are people who say, no, I can't
Yes,
take it.
yes.
Fine. And a lot of people say that we'd like to donate money. I said, do, is it only necessary that we should give money? I said, no, that's the last. We always say money can come in last. Incidentally, one of the things that Project Mumbai works on is we have a strong army of volunteers, and that brings down my cost by 90%. So we run
Because you're
initiatives
delivering
for
through volunteers.
to volunteers. And
Yeah.
to give you an example, we created a dashboard for non-COVID hospitals at the peak of COVID, because everybody was going to a COVID hospital. But what about non-COVID needs? A fracture or a dialysis for a senior citizen. Where does he go? So we put out this list. We had volunteers on our list. We said, who will manage? So volunteers managed it. It was an important service. Now, if I was to go to a consultant or IT guy, they would have charged me a few thousand to set up that page,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
मैं ये कर सकता हूँ, मैं वो कर सकता हूँ, मैं ये कर सकता हूँ. A community
Beautiful.
kitchen of ideas came up. So, and that works.
Yeah. So, Shishir, I'm also hearing this while you're saying it so simply and elegantly, jitna ho sakta hai karo, take care of the 100 meters and so on. I'm sure there must be a journey for you to reach this philosophical depth, right? And including the realization that volunteers ke through karte hain, whereas normally a NGO typically hire people, get donors and deliver services. So curious about, has this been personal experiences? Has it been reading for you to reach these realizations? Has it been reflection, some spiritual practices? Like just curious, what brought you to this point and this depth of understanding?
No. Do I meditate? No. Do I do yoga? No. Am I into spiritualism? No. I love watching. I love watching um, crime shows. I'm as normal as anybody else can be, and I could spend time endless hours watching Netflix. So no, it's people around. There are so many good people everywhere, and I think. When you meet a lot of people, I think that's where the journalistic part must have come in, where you meet. I've been fortunate enough to have worked in so many interesting organizations and interacted with different. There's been business journalism, so there's a certain class of community that I've interacted with. There's been crime journalism I've done, so a different category of people I've interacted with. So you meet people, you hear stories, you realize the pain points. To give you a simple example, when Project Mumbai being born in that sense was also about, I was sitting in a hospital um, waiting to meet somebody, and it was one of the municipal hospitals, and this was sometime in July 2018, June, so 2018, and I saw people coming in from different parts of Maharashtra. They were there, and they said, "Where is this department?" And they were asking me, and they were asking others also. And then I was sitting there, so I could read this names, or I could guide those people. मैंने कहा यहाँ से वहाँ जाएंगे. And Mumbai's municipal hospitals are huge. तो जब एक दो चार लोग पूछते गए, फिर कोई बगल में बैठा था. He said, I have come here for the last 5 days, and there's only half a day window once a week. Then I go back to Nasik. Another guy said, then I go back to Jalgaon. I said, yeah, this is not done in that sense. So there is one way of saying create a agitation. The second is to create a collaboration. So then I spoke to the doctors, and I said, why don't you create a better navigation system in the hospital, so that people can find their way around. They already in pain when they come here. थोड़ा सा उनका जो पेन हम कम कर सकते हैं. तो डॉक्टर से हम डॉक्टरी करें कि नेविगेशन करें. Somebody should help us out. I said, I'll help you out. And that's where another one of my journeys began. Said, let's create a navigation system. So then somebody helped out in designing codes, somebody helped out with this, somebody helped out with that, and then
Yeah.
So that's the story of most of our initiatives. Somebody does come forward. There's somebody who's doing something anyway, isn't it? So there are good people everywhere.
So it also seems, yeah, you also seems like you identified the acupressure point in the hospital कि ये छोटा सा एक intervention बहुत सारा value create करेगा. Like the navigation system would make life easier. And I'm curious where you are right now from your vantage view. What are a few acupressure points in the city that citizens need to put their energies into? Is it small acts of kindness? Is it, I don't know, I'm just curious, like in your wish list also, there must be like, काश citizens ये थोड़ा और करते या यहाँ थोड़ा और ध्यान देते. So would there be any acupressure points that from your vantage view you're being able to see?
So, classically, we citizens have watched a lot of the movie Diwar. I know the 20-somethings would not know of the movie Diwar, but Diwar mein, when there's the
Yeah.
Amitabh and Shashi Kapoor the sequence where Amitabh says, "पहले उस आदमी को का sign लेके आओ, फिर मैं sign करूँगा." Now we are all in that space where when somebody stops us, we say, "उसको क्यों नहीं रोका? मुझे क्यों रोकते हो?" When so I'm saying, if citizens start, I know it's easy for me to preach from this chair that I'm sitting on, but if people start doing a less of that and saying that, okay, let me do my part, something as simple as not breaking a traffic signal, so, or walking in the space that I have and keeping my premise clean. A lot of, when I say clean, I'll give a simple example. The building where I live, if I say, can I ensure that there are cameras there and one camera is facing the road? Can I have the fire brigade, an interaction with the fire brigade? Can I just put some plants? Can I keep my premises clean? Can I get the waste segregation done? I don't do waste segregation because the moment I segregated, the municipality guys will mix it again. इसलिए मैं नहीं करता हूँ. वो तो बात की बात है, छोड़ दो उनको. Can I do that? Can I follow the traffic rules? Can I not break these smaller laws? Can I not follow rules only because somebody is watching? तो ये छोटी छोटी चीजें कर देना, lot of things will start.
उसका ripple will actually spread really wide, I think. Yeah.
See, when there's a traffic signal and a lot of people are whizzing past, you're tempted to go past as well when the signal is red. But when you stop,
yes.
There is a second guy who'll end up maybe out of
definitely
guilt.
The moral pressure builds up.
Moral pressure, he'll stop, then the third will stop. फिर तो कारवा बढ़ता जाता है. तो वैसे है कि try करने में, and but as I always say, I do pick up a lot of fights, I know, but I think it's that's not something that I advise others. But to say that I'm stopping for a red signal, then I may as well not stop in the middle of the road. As in the entire width of the road, I should not side पे खड़े हो कि जिनको जाना है तेजी से निकल जाए. Don't try to say मत जाओ, ये मत करो, वो मत करो. Let them do what they want. Let them feel. And it's again about volunteerism. Let them do what they wish to do. If they want to break, let them break it. If they want to see you and stop, then they'll see you and stop.
Let them stop.
Yeah. So
not going on a moral high ground and preachy, but saying you are free to do what you want, but I will do what is the right thing from where I'm seeing it.
It's something which I picked up from one example is Venkat, formerly of Give India, and so Venkat keeps talking about the Mithai Wala example of volunteerism. If you've not heard from him this example, you'll one day hear it. When he says the Mithai Wala, when you go to a Mithai shop, he gives you a Mithai piece and says, खा के देख लो, पसंद आया तो खरीद लेना, नहीं पसंद आया कोई बात नहीं. Now because it's free, we say चलो free है तो that's India for us. Free है तो खा के देख लेते हैं, तो हम खा लेते हैं. We may most likely not buy it, but फिर out of that moral thing, फिर चलो यार एक पाव दे दीजिएगा. तो वैसा है. So he starts volunteerism. Say चलो यार, you do your bit. The moment you say यार तुम भी करो,
right,
तुम भी करो, there'll be 3 people who know you and out of pressure will do it because you asked them to do. But they'll do it only once. But otherwise, but the moment you say झंडा ऊंचा रहे हमारा, ये करो वो करो, then you're an activist. I don't see myself as an activist.
Right.
No. There are people who.
So you're distinguishing between the activist and the volunteer, where you're saying the activist would be the push for change, झंडा ऊंचा करो, whereas the volunteer is a more is doing what is possible and not imposing almost on others कि आप ये करो. It's like मुझसे जो हो रहा है, जितना हो रहा है, मैं पूरी तरह से करूँगा. I think that's what I'm gathering as.
Try to do something. मतलब कर लो. मतलब it's a sweet persuasion. Sweet persuasion.
Right.
So that way.
Right.
Because there's so much to do. I'm just saying that there's so much to do any case. And then it could just me make a phone call to an elderly person. just teach somebody how to make a video call to your relative. It could be something, or just go to the bank and help somebody write out a check. Fine, great.
Yes.
That's also a lot for the person. For you, it might be something insignificant. For the person whom you're helping out, you know how much you made a difference to
It's
that
huge.
person's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Or just say thank you to
Yeah.
somebody. You know, you
Yeah.
you go to any of these sarkari offices and these guys, there are darbans outside who open the door for you. Look at him, smile at him and say thank you to him. I'm saying ये बहुत हो गया.
Yeah.
कितने लोग करते हैं?
इतने
बहुत
में ही बहुत है.
इतने भी बहुत है. शुरू कर दो. शुरुआत. The problem is शुरुआत.
Beautiful. शुरुआत करना is the initiation is the challenge. Yes, yes, yes.
I'm not even
I
saying
think one of
शुरुआत
the
के बाद.
reasons we try and work.
Sorry.
हाँ, फिर तो चलते जाएगा.
चलते जाएगा. और
No,
नहीं
I think
चलना
one
तो
of
भी
the
कोई बात
reasons
नहीं
for
है.
us. हाँ, that's also fine. No, one of the reasons we work with young people is we find कि जल्दी जल्दी शुरुआत हो सके उतना बेहतर है. And you also do work with adolescents. Curious also, Shishir, you sit in the समाज सरकार बाजार. ऐसे थियरी में तो बहुत लोग कहते हैं कि साथ में काम करना चाहिए समाज सरकार बाजार को. I see you as one of those people who, in some ways, has been able to tap into some energy of the sarkar, some energy of your past is probably from the business world and bazaar, and of course Samaj, where you're located. So curious about those collaborations, right? Like, do those collaborations require some kind of citizen engagement, or is it certain leadership that enables that collaboration? Is sufficient collaboration happening, or do you see scope for more of it happening? And your experience with Project Mumbai and these collaborations?
So a lot of it, generally, it's almost like, let's say Abhishek wants to do something and he may not know who to reach out to. Now, that would dishearten him. But then the test would be that Abhishek should know somebody who knows somebody, and then try it out that way. So collaboration, because collaboration is the key. If you need to build and grow stronger, because अपने आप से इतना ही कर पाओगे. अगर बढ़ना है तो एज से साथी हाथ बढ़ाना. और साथी अलग अलग तरह के, मतलब समाज है, बाजार है, सब है, सरकार है. तो उसमें भी like the perception would be that, okay, I have this collaboration with the municipal corporation on 5 things, or with the state government on 10 things. So do I know them well? I don't. There is work. There's a history of work I'm taking to the table. And so today we're doing just quickly talk about one interesting project we're doing. We're doing mapping of Mumbai, okay, where the signboards of the city, we are getting the history. So there's Abhishek Thakur Road, or let's say a Kejal Road. Who are these people? If you don't know, हमने उन्हीं का इतिहास निकाल.
Wow.
और
Lovely.
But who's doing that? It's again volunteers doing it. कि आप जिस गली में रहते हो, उस गली की सड़क किसके नाम की है, उनका आप इतिहास निकालिए, pull it out. We'll help you research it and stuff like that. Then we went to the municipal corporation to say, listen, this is what, I didn't tell them this is what you should have ideally been doing. But yes, ideally it's a municipal corporation which should be doing, but we're doing it because I feel for the city, and I'm kind of egging on Abhishek to his road. Then I told the municipal corporation, हम इतना कर रहे हैं, बाकी आप कर दो. So put a QR code on that. So they QR coded. So the moment I click on it, I get to it. Then I reached out to the police to say, I'm putting this, give me the police history. They said, we'll give you the police history of that police station. So then the moment you click on that road, you will get to know which police station this comes under. So it's making life a little easier. Now today I went to one of the IT meetings of the municipal corporation, and a very senior officer was there. I had not met him over the last 2 years, but I know we had done a lot of food relief in his area. So when we started talking, he said, oh, you Project Mumbai, you guys did this in my area. I know of that. Up the doors open.
Lovely.
Now somebody else would have said, oh,
yes.
He knows these guys, that's why things happen. No, but we did work there. And that good work has now
the work
paid
spoke.
off.
Yeah.
Work spoke and work
the
paid
work
off.
has
And
spoken.
work built the trust. Because the most important benchmark is trust. Apart from credibility and transparency, it's the trust which happened. So that spoke, that opened the door, and that moved through fast. So one point I'd like to say is there are good people everywhere.
Right.
And even the Sarkar part of it, there could be, I may need, let's say you are in the Sarkar, but you're not the relevant Sarkar for me. But I know you, so I can say, यार मुझे मैं ये काम कर रहा हूँ, मुझे बताओ कोई उस डिपार्टमेंट को परिचित होगा क्या, then you say let me connect you to somebody whom I know because I built that trust with you. So joining the dots
Again, yeah, comes back to joining the
comes back
dots
to
and
dots,
finding
yeah.
the connections.
Finding the connections, yeah.
Shishir,
But it's
curious
not easy,
about
it's not
what is
easy.
the
Yeah, sorry.
it probably is the history of work and almost also mind which is able to start connecting the dots that starts doing it perhaps. I think once the cause is alive, things flow. Uh, I was curious about what is the right relationship with our elected representatives and particularly corporators because municipal councillors, corporators are sort of the most immediate local representative. So do you see them as allies? Do you see them as let them do their own work, we'll do ours? Or how has, what's the right relationship of a citizen with their elected
I
representatives, you
think
feel? What's a
most
healthy one?
most important is for us to know who they are. You know, it starts
Hmm.
there because that's where it's almost like saying I'm talking to you and I say क्या नाम है आपका, and then you say यार इसको तो मेरा नाम भी पता नहीं है, you know. So now which ward do I come in, and the disconnect begins there. Disconnect of relationship begins there. The corporator starts keeping you away or is disinterested in you and your interests or your work or your needs when you show that kind of disinterest in him कि मेरे इलाके का कॉर्पोरेटर कौन है, किस पार्टी का है, क्या करता है, बैकग्राउंड क्या है, मैं इतना तो पढ़ के जाऊं, and then leave him to himself, and also then find out what is his duty. We go to members of parliament and say स्कूल एडमिशन करवाओ, वो उसका काम नहीं है, वो तो कॉर्पोरेट लेवल की. तो a lot of citizens don't do our homework also. See, I'm not trying to add more work to the citizens thing, but if I say leave 5 numbers on your cell phone, and that's all is the capacity of your cell phone from today. What are the 5 numbers you will keep? You will keep it, let's say, a colleague, an important member, family member, parent, that kind of thing. How many people know which is their fire brigade number? How many people know which is their police station number? How many people know that corporator number? तो पता तो रहे कि कॉर्पोरेटर तुम्हारा वार्ड कौन सा है. We all talk about change and wanting citizens to do change, but how many of us are invested in that change? And I'm not asking for people to say, okay, rattle off the Constitution of India or tell me what the preamble is. But Mumbai has 227 corporator wards. मैं ये भी नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि ये हर वार्ड अपना इलाका, custodian of the 100 meters where you live,
custodian of your 100 meters.
Yes. तो उतने इलाके में आप करना शुरू करो. It's like classic example. A lot of people complain about a particular newspaper because that has become so commercial. Okay, to say so many ads, editorial has become to talk about one particular newspaper. I said, if your entire building of 50, 70 residents stop subscribing to that newspaper, okay, सिर्फ चिल्लाने से और रोने से फर्क नहीं पड़ना है. अगर आप उस बिल्डिंग के 100 रेसिडेंट्स कहेंगे कल से हम ये अखबार बंद कर रहे हैं, तो उस अखबार का सीनियर पर्सन दौड़ के आएगा कि यार ठीक है हम कुछ करते हैं आपके लिए. एंड विच इज हाउ इट इज. यू स्टार्ट क्लीनिंग अप योर एरिया, you will come to the notice of people to say yeah, these guys are doing some good work. Then your corporator will come to you, he will keep you on the same table to say चलो इनकी सुनते हैं, इन्होंने कुछ तो किया है. हम उनके पास जाते हैं अपने काम के लिए, बट उनकी भी सोचो कि उनका भी कुछ हो सकता है. It has to be a win-win. I always believe.
Yes, I think remembering that is an important
very important thing. मतलब we always think about ourselves, but think for them. And when they think अच्छा ये अपनी भी सोच रहा है, yeah, I'm going to clean my area, then you say यार उसका भी फायदा है कि आप अपना एरिया क्लीन करोगे. वो कहेगा देखो हमारे एरिया, this is part of my ward, and they say okay I'm cleaning, why don't you support it by ensuring that no hoardings come up. He'll say चलो मैं hoardings नहीं आने नहीं दूंगा, the cooperative will say मैं आपके lights कर दूंगा. We'll say we will call you if there is a theft in our area. We'll have our police station visits.
Yes. Starting that relationship. Yeah.
I'm saying for the youth, one exercise I would love to give them always is go to your police station, okay, and go there just to say hello to them. डर लगता है कि वो क्या बोलेंगे, पुलिस वाला है, वर्दी में है, गाली देगा, but that's the image that we have. But just go there. I live in this area, and मेरे साथ पिछले 10 साल से कोई घटना नहीं हुई है. I think then you owe it to them to say thank you to them.
Yes, definitely.
Peace
I think
time
that
networking.
gratitude is so
Gratitude is
important
there.
to.
So when you say अच्छा ये corrupt है, ये चोर है, वो ठीक है यार, तुम्हारे साथ तो कुछ नहीं हुआ ना. What we do is the cop
Hmm.
stops you at the traffic junction. He says पैसे कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. And before he says, sometimes you pull out the money and say छोड़ दो यार जाने दो. And you pay and you leave and then you say कितना corrupt था वो पैसे लिए. दिए भी तो
True.
किसी ने ना. मैं
True.
I'm not sitting on a pedestal here or a high horse here to try to give can, but I'm saying try smaller things. Go to the
Yeah.
police station and say, I've said come to say hello to you, and then he'll say यार आप जानते हो ये चलो ये इनसे मिलो चाय पियो दो बातें
Nice.
होती
Yeah.
हैं.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
someday when you're in trouble, then he's definitely going to help you out.
He's going to remember.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you know
Absolutely.
what it does to your self-confidence when you're sitting in a police station is
Yes.
huge. I know. Well, it's a nice feeling when you know. And of course, I as a journalist used to visit, so it was a great confidence builder when you're talking to cops because mindsets are that cops are harsh and cruel and ruthless. And
Yeah.
but these are small doable tasks. I'm saying
Doable
do
task.
something
Definitely.
doable.
Yes. I think the doability aspect is coming in most of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So also curious, Shishir, that from elected representatives, अब Feb में हमारे elections होंगे अगले साल. And before this talk began, you were saying that let's not be too over focused on elections. So curious about your take, how to be an informed voter in the run-up to elections. Do you think citizens can impact the city? What are things that one should do to make sure that voting is an informed decision?
No, definitely. The municipal elections, yes. So, because it's a very small number which decides who wins in your area. It's a 6,000, 7,000 ka difference. Sometimes 100, 200 ka difference can make it,
Yeah.
make it all.
Yeah.
So, I say forget that part. Pehle, do you even have your voter ID card? You know, it's that itself is a huge step. That get yours and your family's members voter ID card and
Right.
keep that cynicism aside to say मेरे एक वोट से क्या होगा. छोड़ो ना आपके वोट से होगा नहीं होगा वोटिंग तो आपको एक इट्स अ क्लब मेंबरशिप यू गॉट which is a free membership the moment you turn 21 it's a club membership use that club membership and go and enjoy something cast
You
your
mean
vote
club membership as like the citizenship of this country or the right to vote?
both it's a citizenship in fact is a huge membership you've got free of
Yes,
cost
with a lot
कुछ
of
नहीं
benefits.
कुछ exactly it's almost like saying if you go to a CCI kind of thing and you say चलो कुछ नहीं किया here's a membership say wow let me go there and have a chai or coffee or watch a game but this is a free में मिला है आपको membership ये उसका कुछ तो एक तो वोट तो देके आ जाइए तो उसके लिए
Beautiful.
yeah now how many people know that right now and that I would say is a part of the problem that this maybe the election team has not publicized it but हम भी तो नहीं पढ़ते हैं to say right now over the next 10-15 days if you need to make any changes in your voter ID card you can do it now ये होने के बाद then closer to the vote we say अरे मेरा नाम ही नहीं था find out from your family find out if there are people working in your home if there are house helps ask them voter ID card बनाया कि नहीं बनाया अभी वक्त है that it starts there and
Right.
then get others to also say यार तुम भी बनवा लो मतलब century is 100 runs when I'm coming into bat, am I focusing on the 100th run? No. I'm
Just the
focusing
first
on
few runs and yeah.
settle down. The first run, first ball, one ball at a time.
Right.
It's almost like
Right. The
that
basics.
Alcoholics Anonymous tells people don't think about giving up alcohol one day at a time. The Al-Anon guys say, आज
Yeah.
नहीं पी है तो फिर कल की सोचेंगे. Don't
Yes.
think
One
today.
day, one small step at a time.
Correct.
So Shishir, let me come to now Project Mumbai and so much that it's doing. What would be best ways for people to connect to the work? Is it online? Is it dropping you a mail? Is it their own locality and connecting? What would be ways to connect?
One way of putting it is just any which way. So we've got a fantastic team, very helpful. Write a mail to me, Shishir at projectmumbai.org. That's one. We have our website is fairly active. It's work in progress. We're trying to redo that. But info at projectmumbai.org. We have WhatsApp groups. Those are also very active. We put people onto the WhatsApp groups and we create opportunities. You have plenty of stuff to choose. So reach out to us in any which way. Our website does give details of how you can reach out to us. But reach out to me directly also. Shishir at Project Mumbai is also a very simple way. And
Nice. So people can reach out to you on that one.
yes. Absolutely.
Shishir, curious about amplifying stories of hope. I think when we had last spoken and you were talking about the idea of citizen journalists, and now there are so many stories of hope. So curious about that. Anything on that in terms of these stories of hope being amplified, or how do we generate inspiration to the next level? You shared so many stories here of everyday heroes. So
So I think, when communities start coming together, that viral effect is because there's so much of it's almost like saying when somebody says, my story should appear in the Times of India. Okay, but there are so many other newspapers also. So platforms are plenty. That's one part. Where I'm coming from is goodness. You never know what can go viral. Um, Sometimes you read a story and say somebody has done this in, let's say, Chennai, and you say, "अरे, उससे बड़ा तो हमारे बगल में किसी ने कुछ किया है." So
hmm,
sometimes
hmm.
a completely insignificant work can go very huge, and sometimes a very huge initiative can. So
Go on, see, yeah.
हाँ, मतलब आम खाने में इतना वक्त, ये whatever, I think one of those कहावत है, तो पेड़ क्यों गिनते हो आम खाने से, whatever, all that.
हाँ,
So,
आम खाने से मतलब है, हाँ.
मतलब है क्या, हाँ, तो वो है कि कर लो कि देयर इज सो मच टू बी डन, एंड बट इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट टू बी लिंक टू द सिटीजन जर्नलिज्म पार्ट ऑफ इट, इम्पोर्टेंट टू बी अवेयर कि छोटी सी चीज की, हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस जो अगर रेगुलरली ऑटो रिक्शा से जाते हैं तो ऑटो रिक्शा का कार्ड आपकी जेब में है कि नहीं, कि कितना मीटर पे हुआ है, उतना चेक कर लो वेदर इट्स द सेम और नॉट, एंड छोटे से अपने ट्रैफिक रूल्स भी पता है कि नहीं, क्योंकि वो बोलेगा कि अच्छा आपकी ये थी फाइन 400 रुपए है, एंड भी से 400 रुपए, पर पता लगा वो तो 175 रुपए ही फाइन थी. अब नाउ ही इज कॉन्ड यू प्योरली ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर इग्नोरेंस, and ignorance because of something which is right there. Well, people
Hmm,
say
hmm.
कि this information is not available. Most things are available online, and
Right.
this generation is so online. You need to click on, let's say, RTO. You get to see the RTO laws. You get to see numbers. You need to reach out to. नंबर
Yeah.
उठाएगा नहीं कोई, लेकिन ठीक है, मिलेंगे तो सही. अब वो नहीं
Yes.
उठाएगा, then you can do something about it. पता ही नहीं है तो ignorance is no excuse.
True. True. What about your vision for the city, Shishir? Like, I remember these 10 years ago when I was starting out these documents of India at 75, Vision Mumbai document, and like grand plans about the city would come up and a bit, and when I now see a lot of them are yet to happen. And I'm curious about what's your vision for the city? When will you be able to say, okay, this is it? Like, just curious, is it an ongoing vision? Is it a set vision? What's your dream for the city?
I think my dream, is about everybody or as many people volunteering, and that will be the change, because there are some, everybody is doing their task in that sense. So there is, so 10 years ago, if you look at it, we didn't even know what metro was, or I come from a generation when there was a time when mobile phones was a story. One of my earliest stories as a journalist was when somebody came from the US and said, there is a phone which does not have a cord, आप कहीं पे भी ले जा सकते हो. So what is
Mm-hmm.
that? And then how fast mobile phone became part of our life.
Yes,
There was a I think you also come from a pager generation, right? So
yes,
there used
yes.
to be there used to be pagers, which
Pages,
are,
yeah, yeah.
तो ये सब चीजें हैं. So things in 10 years lot has changed anyway, and what has changed and what I want more deeply ingrained is volunteerism. People should do something for others. कुछ भी कर लो, and that will change a lot, because this city does need, it's a city which needs others to participate in their lives. uh, that will kind of spread a bit of kindness and a bit of happiness, because it is a tiring city, it is a chaotic city. It really does not give, it's like cliched, but immediately after the blast, when people go back to work and everybody says resilient city, it's not about resilient, it's also a city because people have no choice. मतलब नौकरी है, आपके घर में कोई नहीं ले रहा है तो आप क्यों छुट्टी ले रहे हो, kind of thing. But and people don't have a choice. People have, it's a city of hope in that sense. People come here to the city for a job because they send back money home. Now
Mm-hmm.
I can make that life a little more, less stressful by doing something, by just by just being nice. If you don't have the worries that others have, then I think कुछ तो what you have you can share.
Yes,
And
yes,
we are privileged. If you're sitting here right now, and
yes,
Bombayites
definitely.
are so privileged, is not funny. We don't know what a load shedding is, and a lot of people in case don't know.
Yes.
Here, बगल में थाने डिस्ट्रिक्ट है जहाँ 4-4 6-6 घंटे बिजली नहीं रहती है दिन में, कल्याण जैसे एरिया में, which is stones throw away. Forget that. In a city like Mumbai, Chembur is an area which is like where the Kapoors have grown up, the actors and all that, and that a part of Chembur is where life expectancy is 39 years. Okay, so we're talking about, so we don't even know about these things. कोई बात नहीं, don't even know, वो छोड़ दो, that's not going to change your life. But what's changing your life is at least मेरी बिल्डिंग,
Hmm,
मेरा
hmm.
घर, मेरे 100 मीटर का दायरा, उसको
Yeah.
बदल डालो तो बहुत कुछ बदल सकता है.
And if each one is doing that, I think overall we will be in a very beautiful,
Absolutely. Don't even
very
look at the
lovely
next
city.
building. Just make my own building. मतलब as I keep saying, custodian of the 100 meters. बहुत फर्क पड़
Yes.
जाएगा. छोटा सा कुछ कर दो, अपने ही एक पौधा डाल दो, उसकी तरफ ध्यान दे दो. फिर हम कहते हैं अच्छा, it's like I remember in my days of when I used to work, and my colleague would come in with a stressed out when increment letters would come in, and they would come and look at the increment letter and be very thrilled that it was more than what they wanted, and they would say thank you, I'm so overjoyed. And the moment you go out and then you match your increment with somebody else's, and then you feel sad because it's not, it's lesser than somebody else got. So fair, then you come back. I said, but you were happy with what you had. The moment you
Hmm, hmm.
out and you felt sad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
मतलब तो अपना पौधा है, उसको संभालिए, उसी में खुश,
Very
बाकी लोग तो होगा, चलता रहेगा. मतलब दुख
agree.
देखने के लिए बहुत है.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. That's a beautiful and beautiful note to pause on because there's so much positivity in what you just shared. And I'm also hearing an invitation for everybody who's listening to actually go and take that first step. जैसे आपने कहा अपने 100 मीटर का कस्टोडियन बनना and जो हो सकता है करना and really letting that ripple all over the city. So that's a very beautiful vision, Shishir, and a very realistic, achievable vision. ऐसा नहीं लगा कि बहुत कुछ दूर का. I think it seems like something that we all can contribute to. So
Also,
that's
Abhishek, the
yeah.
fact is when I do something like, it's a kind of contrast to what I am, that I look at scale. But then it's also about doing small, because when you do something small and the multiples of small, then it becomes a scale anyway. But when I'm doing small, then I get a result, so I feel happy. Because the
Hmm,
moment I
hmm.
try to achieve something big, and if it doesn't happen, then it's going to dishearten me. So
Yes,
small is
yes,
also about building confidence through
yeah.
success. एक
And
छोटा
then
सा
building
कुछ
on
कर दो.
top of it. हाँ, छोटा करो, उसको अचीव
Correct.
करो, उसके बाद और
बिल्कुल.
आगे बढ़ते चले जाओ. बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
Look, and I also believe confrontation is not a solution. Well, there are people who are great at confrontation and solutions that don't, and there are ways of collaboration in doing things. कुछ तुम करो, कुछ हम करें.
Hmm,
वैसा है.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, I think you
Possible.
embody the spirit of the city. I feel you embody the collaboration. The चलो कुछ करते हैं, जितना हो सकता है करते हैं, पर अच्छा करते हैं. So really carrying so much positivity from this conversation, Shishir. Any final thoughts? Any final things you'd like to share with our listeners? Anything that I may not have covered as a question which you would like to respond or share?
Uh, I think something that we're working on right now is about, so be more compassionate towards the less privileged. So less privileged may, it's not only about the money part of it, but people with challenges. Senior citizens, for instance, it's not an easy life for them. Senior citizens, children, and persons with disabilities. So can we make their life, don't show sympathy, but can we make their life a little more easier? तो उसमें भी
Hmm.
मतलब we picked up, incidentally we've taken up wheelchair basketball as our partner this time, and our focus is this, through sport we are looking at accessibility or making Mumbai accessible. So that's something that we are doing, and
Would you share a little more about that, about the wheelchair
sure.
basketball
Sure.
and
So
making?
Mumbai
Yeah.
has a fantastic wheelchair basketball team, and they've not played for the last 2 years because of COVID. One, but second is because most public basketball courts and the basketball court and the ring uh, are the same for a able-bodied and a wheelchair person. Okay, so there's no difference in height and anything, but they have been unable to play because most of the basketball courts don't have washrooms where a wheelchair can go in. इतनी छोटी सी चीज हम नहीं कर पाते इन लोगों के लिए. So, so we when I spoke to met the team, met the coaches, was very inspired. The energy that they exude, and we said, okay, let's partner with them. Let's start. So one part is to provide them with gears, fitness, physiotherapy, all that, and wheelchairs. And so they focus on the sport, but then also involve parents who have children with disabilities. So this is ये एक जरिया है, and then get these players to play at different places, so that every place you play, people say wow, and then they're compelled to expand their institution into making it friendly for and accessible. So changing mindsets in a slightly different way. मैं अगर किसी को कहूँ आपके रिकंस्ट्रक्ट कीजिए आपके बाथरूम्स को, कह रहे होगा, लेकिन एक जब गेम होता है तो 10 लोग और देखते हैं और कहते हैं यार ये तो I am living that experience. So we are now, so Project Mumbai is created, partnered with the wheelchair basketball team of Mumbai and Maharashtra. The team is called Project Mumbai Wheelers.
Wow.
We would like over the next 5 years for them to also be the gold champions at the Paralympics, hoping for
Lovely.
that. And
Lovely.
some of them are fantastic national players. So we are having a match this Sunday at Dominic Savio School in Andheri East at 4 o'clock. Anybody who's around that side can come and watch and cheer for them. And we plan to have a Premier League, getting the Pune team, the Bangalore teams
Wow.
involved. But
Lovely.
Zaria, sports is only the Zaria, the
Yes.
media. We want, so accessibility is what I'm hinting towards, is one space. Senior citizens, we did a lot of work with seniors this time during COVID. That's a space. Just look around in your area and try to be of help to them.
Friend to
support
them. Yes.
Because
Yes.
we all
yes.
know of somebody or the other who's a senior and whose family is abroad or in another city. It's not easy for them. वो है and children. तो ये तीन एरियाज पे फोकस कर दिया तो फिर बहुत कुछ फर्क पड़ सकता है.
बहुत बढ़िया, Shishir. I think from the privilege, being able to take that and serve the most vulnerable, I think, or partner with the most vulnerable and do things. I think that's the message I'm taking away from
And
what you shared.
and Project Mumbai doors are always open for everyone. It's like that. It's a people organization. So we managed to achieve a lot in 3 years, but that's because of our fantastic army of volunteers. So as we say, Project Mumbai's tagline is Mumbai के लिए कुछ भी करेगा.
मुंबई के लिए कुछ भी करेगा. Wow.
कुछ भी करेगा. Absolutely. So, but of course we've done in other cities also. So somebody says कि यार मुंबई के लिए करेगा. What about Nashik? What about Pune? I said हम करना सिखाएंगे आपको. आप अपने शहर के लिए कर दीजिए. We'll create a SOP of that. So that.
Lovely, Shishir. Thank you so much for this beautiful, positivity-filled, pragmatic, yet creative and systemic conversation. There's so much in this conversation for us to learn from, and really privileged to have citizens like you in our city. Honestly, like it's awesome to have people like you in our city. So I'm feeling so grateful for all that you do and just sharing a lot of love, energy back at you.
Thank you, Abhishek. There are lots of good people in the city.
Yes.
Mumbai is the kindness capital, and I very strongly believe it. And do share our links to everyone.
We'll do that, definitely.
Mumbai, info at Project Mumbai. I'm sure anybody who wants to join, be part of the goodness, more than welcome.
Yes,
and
that's
very
lovely.
best to the VRM movement as well. And
thanks a lot.
We need to work together as well.
Definitely, and this is probably one more step towards doing that. BRM is also on its fundraising drive. So those of you who want to contribute, please feel free to go to Milap, find Blue Ribbon, and chip in. And there are various young people who can connect to BRM in many, many different ways.
And if you have some extra money, give it to Project Mumbai.
Sure. We're doing some interesting stuff, Shishir. We're making some games. We're doing some citizen audits, a whole set of things. So people who want to connect, most welcome to do that. And also an appeal to philanthropists. I think Mumbai is the country's richest city, and I think resources should pour in. And I hope with that wish that lots of resources pour into this kind of work, and we're able to do more and more of it.
I'll put in some money into PRM as well.
Thanks a lot, Shishir.
Thank you, Abhishek and the entire team.